This is Mrs. O'Neill for AP Chemistry, Chapter 2, Section 6, Molecules and Molecular Compounds. In this section, you will understand how molecules are put together and how their compositions are represented. So, again, if you need to pause, fill in the blanks, and then play to hear my words. Molecular compounds consist of nonmetals. You probably remember these as covalent compounds, same thing. And again, the formula, just like an ionic compound, the number of atoms are represented by subscripts. So when you have this organic compound like C2H6, you have 2 carbon atoms and 6 hydrogen atoms. These are known as diatomic molecules because these 7 elements do not exist alone. And they're called molecules because they are 2 nonmetals put together. And of course, they all share electrons. Molecular and empirical formula, just know that the molecular formula is the actual formula of how many atoms are in each of those molecules and it actually exists. Where an empirical formula does not exist, it just gives you the lowest whole number ratio of those atoms, and it's a way of calculating the molecular formula later on. So when we are picturing these molecules, there's different representations. So a structural formula just is the connection between atoms, and sometimes this helps us give us the shape like tetrahedral or bent. So there's an example of C2H6, and the lines are representing the atoms, or the bond, I should say, the bond between the carbon atom and the hydrogen atom. So other kind of models include perspective drawing. And so these lines represent the 3D model. So these lines would represent that this group is maybe behind the molecule. This group is maybe to the side, and this group is coming out in the forward. So that's called the perspective drawing. And sometimes they have this as just as like a triangle. They just represent a different way. So if you see, other than a straight line, a squiggly or dashes, just means that it's trying to give you a 3D representation. The ball and stick model, just like we used making those organic compounds, and the space filling model. And these are all things that you're going to just see throughout the course and see throughout the textbook. So again, these are just some examples of how one molecule is represented using just the structure, the space filling, and the ball and stick. So those are just examples. Okay, see you in class.